Now we have come to the part where I explain what the people behind the theory channels has to do with this. Before September 18, 2021, I was watching many Five Nights at Freddy's theory videos. I watched those videos because I hadn't watched many Five Nights at Freddy's theory videos in a long time, and I needed to catch up. I decided to subscribe to Game Theory because I wanted notifications from when a new Five Nights at Freddy's theory video was uploaded. Not long after, on September 18, 2021, I get a notification that a new Five Nights at Freddy's theory video is uploaded named 3 New FNAF Timeline Theories. By the way, FNAF is short for Five Nights at Freddy's. I decided to watch the video, and nothing seems out of the ordinary, until at 3 o'clock I suddenly see the name Tim being used in the FNAF video. I knew that there was not a single FNAF character named Tim, so was this really just a coincidence? Later in the video at 5:03, Orville is called overdramatic by Matthew. I don't get when Orville has ever been overdramatic. The thing is, Orville is supposed to be a representation of Henry Emily. Tim has called me overdramatic in the past. Here is proof that this is Tim who I am talking to. I saw nothing else suspicious in the video. I decided to unsubscribe, and I started watching theory videos on the theory channels because I really felt like something was going on. This is where I got my main proof from, and I have a lot of it. However, I'm not going to start with those proofs. The reason to why is because I didn't really find any suspicious occurrences until October 16, 2021, and what I am about to say to you happened on October 9, 2021. On October 9th, I was playing Minecraft like normal. I was specifically playing Lucky Islands on CubeCraft. Although, I remember that the name was Lucky Blocks. I'm not sure if they changed the name, or if I got confused somewhere, but it's not that important. I was joining a new game on Lucky Islands, until I see the name John, and the exact same aftername that the John from before had on his two Roblox accounts. I get mad, and decide to kill him on Lucky Islands. I kinda just charged in with a weapon, with my main target being to kill John. I ended up killing John, and then getting killed by one of his teammates. After that happened, I didn't leave. I took a screenshot of the chat as evidence, like you see on your screen. Here is also evidence that my Minecraft account starts with Mini. I was watching many videos from the Theorists channels on October 16th. I came across a video uploaded on the Food Theorists channel, with the name, Hungry. Don't grab a Snickers, at exactly 3:30 it is said these words, just learned that you have an evil twin that's been gaslighting all your loved ones. Eat a Snickers, remember how destiny is sometimes mimicking me. At this point I thought that maybe this person is a representation of me, which could make sense, since this person looks a little like Henry Emily. I actually found out later that this person is a representation of me, which is mostly why I am bringing this up. I don't really know when the people at the Theorists channels decided to have this person as a representation of me, so I am bringing this up just in case. Warning, scary image coming up. Skip to 306 if avoiding. October 31st at 1:10, in the film Theorists video named, Do Not Open the Door. The same person is edited here screaming with FNAF screaming sound. The whole video had absolutely nothing to do with FNAF. What happened in the video titled, Thanos Tried to Save Us, and Eternals Proves IT, is interesting. The video was uploaded the 14th of November, on the Film Theorists channel. At 0:20, in the video, Matthew says this, We've always been with you, watching, guiding, making you cringe, and seeing you accomplish wonders. Like that time you managed to pick up the phone without screening the number first, that was truly miraculous. The person from before is suspiciously edited in those scenes. What Matthew said at that moment had absolutely nothing to do with the rest of the video. It's disgusting how when Matthew says watching, it is edited the Film Theorists channel watching me through the window, which has a camera as their logo. This is also more proof that they have set up a camera to watch me. He also weirdly says, like that time you managed to pick up the phone without screening the number first, that was truly miraculous. I actually went to take a screenshot of some unknown numbers that had called me, after I had watched that video, because I remembered that some unknown numbers had called me, before that video was uploaded. It's weird how Matthew knew that someone had called me. Also, I will never pick up my phone while an unknown number is calling. People out there are unfortunately heartless. You never know who is on the other side. It's most likely a scam caller or ads, and you can't trust anyone at all. So I don't really get what's so wondrous about that. You can probably guess that I started getting suspicious of Matthew now. However, he wasn't the only one who was writing the script for that video, so I wasn't that suspicious. The 20th of November, in the video, the final broadcast local 58. When the sponsor for the video is announced, something suspicious happens at 17:56. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show the pictures from the sponsor, because I don't own those pictures. So I am not going to show them. However, you can go and look at the video yourself if you want to. Suddenly the country Norway shows up. I can tell that it is supposed to be written Norway there because I live in Norway. You probably already guessed that, since many things on my devices was in Norwegian. I didn't really want to say what country I live in, although it became kinda obvious, and also, I really want to show important proof. Norway is also the only country shown in the entirety of the whole sponsor. I told Tim, when we were friends, before any fights happened, that I lived in Norway. I obviously didn't tell him what part of Norway, or what city. At 1825, Matthew hangs a picture of a cat on the wall, and says that Stephanie, who is Matthew's wife, decided that cats was the way to go. At 1847 another cat picture is hung on a wall, which looks like another wall in Stephanie and Matthew's house. The 10th of December 2021 is an important date. I was watching a theory video, and looking for proof like normal. I decided to read the description in one of the theory videos to see if there was any proof in there. I just so happened to come across the credits for different people. So what I did was that I started searching up all of those people on the internet. I eventually came across Don's profile on Twitter. At that time I knew that Tim must either 1. Somehow have come in contact with Matthew and the others behind the theory channels, or 2. Quite literally work for Matthew. The first time when I saw Don's profile, I thought that it was a little bit suspicious, because he had a cat at the top of his logo, and because it said in his bio that he is the head editor of Game Theory. I can't show you a screenshot of the logo with a cat on it, on Don's Twitter profile, because I don't own that picture. However, you can go and look yourself on Don's profile on Twitter. Being the head editor meant that he had a high chance of either 1, being the one that has contact with Tim the most, or 2, actually being Tim himself. He also had a high chance of being the one that edited the Tim part in the FNAF video, because he is the head editor. A few days after that, I can't remember why, but I searched up all the names of the people in the credits again. I think I searched them up again, because maybe I wanted to double check that none of them were really Tim. I don't really know. Whatever the reason may be, I ended up searching all of the names again. The second time when I searched Don's profile, I looked at it again, and said, this could actually be Tim. As time passed, and I saw more and more of the videos and the editing, I was 100% sure that Dan had to be Tim. Let me show you some more proof. On Don's channel named ThatCybertChannel, he had an old intro, which is just his logo going on the screen. However, the new intro has a cat on top of the logo now. I believe that Dan must have created the intro for his channel before he met me, which we can see by going back to videos he posted before he even met me in August 2019. This means that he must have added that cat on his logo after he met me to mimic me. Dan has also posted many things on Twitter, which suggests that this is Tim. For example, here you can see that he is saying that he has watched Belle for the 3rd time, which is just the Beauty and the Beast movie. And here you can see that I searched up the Beauty and the Beast before Dan even posted that on Twitter. This is also proof that Tim has hacked into the Wi-Fi, since he could see what I had searched that day. Another example is here on June 14, 2022 where Dan says, go watch cause I know you have the time. Looking at you, do it. He says looking at you, which by the way has nothing to do with the post itself. The fact that he knows that I have the time to do that is even more proof that he is watching me with a camera. This post was clearly directed to me. He also says do it, which is very controlling, as if he was commanding me. That is something that Tim has tried to do in the past. I actually didn't look at that post in the end, because he doesn't control me. I choose myself if I want to look at that post or not. Another hint that proves that Dan is Tim is the fact that one of the things that had the Tim name tag in the first video, where I found proof, was some kind of human animatronic. If you look closely at that human animatronic, you can see that it looks almost like Dan, with a Tim name tag. August 7, 2022, we can see that the Destiny's account has a purse-like item with the color coffee brown, created by LadyFesti. What's so interesting about this item is the fact that the color has the word coffee in it. Dan loves coffee. Here are 2 pictures taken on February 13, 2022 and January 23, 2023 to prove that Dan loves coffee. The 21st of September 2022, I asked Dan while he is streaming what I should do because I have a stalker. He surprisingly answers me and replies, contact the authorities. It's the best thing I can advise. Also report the account of the stalker to their respective companies. First of all, how did Dan know that the stalker is stalking me online? When people think of a stalker, they think a stalker following you around in the real world. However, Dan somehow knew that the stalker was online. Second of all, he says accounts, as in multiple accounts, not account, as in one account. How did Dan know that there were multiple accounts stalking me, and not just one? Third of all, and also last, how did Dan know that the stalker was working for a company? It's weird how he says companies, and not company. Maybe his YouTube channel is considered another company. Or perhaps all the theory channels are small companies under one big company. I'm not really sure. He could have also misspelled the word companies. Also, here is evidence that the Flame account belongs to me. On the 30th of November 2022, in the livestream named, Taking on the Ink Demon. On ThatCybertChannel, I catch Dan doing something on his stream. He does a gesture where he tips an invisible hat. In this screenshot, you can clearly see that Tim does the same. He tips an invisible hat. Here's proof that this is Tim. On the 17th of March 2023, I was watching a live stream from ThatCybertChannel named Find I Like Fortnite Now. I discovered that he chose to have a contrail with 3 demon skulls at 35 to 29. His Roblox character on the Tim account has demon horns, created by Roblox. In the same live stream, I suddenly see someone having the word octopus in their Fortnite username. That sends a friend request to Dan at 49 to 54. This octopus account does not belong to me, and I would have never sent Dan a friend request. Dan weirdly accepts the friend request, thinking that it's me. He then claims that it was not intended to accept that request. He laughs after saying that, which just tells me that he is lying. The person with the octopus account decides to join Dan's party. At 50 to 56, Dan only kicks the person from the party, and weirdly does not unfriend them. The fact that Dan chose to play Fortnite on a live stream is also suspicious, because at that time, I was playing a lot of Fortnite. Here is evidence that I finished last season, which was chapter for season 1, because the skin that I am wearing can only be obtained if you get to the last page of the battle pass in chapter for season 1, that would have required me to play a lot every day. You can also see that this account belongs to me because it starts with Mini, which my Minecraft account also starts with. I believe that Tim found my account on Fortnite by hacking into either our PS4 or PS5, or perhaps both, by using the Wi-Fi that one of them, or both, were connected to. I already know that Tim has hacked the Wi-Fi because he can see what I am searching. Tim must have seen me play Fortnite once, and found out my account that way. I sent a friend request to Tim on August 28, 2022. The reason for why I sent him a friend request was because I wanted to see if he would answer, because Dan was streaming. He started streaming at 7 p.m. PST, which is 4 a.m. for me in Norway. If you didn't know, not every country has the same time. For example, in one country it could be 12 a.m., while in another country it is 5 p.m. The thing is, the sun cannot shine on the whole earth at the same time. If a light shines on a ball from the top will be bright, however the bottom will be dark. This is why in some places there is night, while in other places, there is day. Even if you're a flat earth believer, it still is the same. The top will be day, where it is bright, and the bottom will be night, where it is dark. Dan was going to stream for 2 hours that day. This meant that when the time was 5 a.m. in Norway, or 8 p.m. PST, Dan was still streaming. Tim coincidentally didn't answer my request. 20 minutes had passed, and he still didn't answer my request. I sent a new friend request on August 31, 2022, at 3:11 a.m., while Dan was streaming. This time it got actually answered. On Don's live stream that was on August 31st, he said something suspicious at 1 hour 4 minutes and 10 seconds. He says, "Rainy, I got a big spill behind me. I was really hoping you could get on that." I remember the live stream was about Dan building a new keyboard. I am mentioning that because I cannot find the stream. I'm not sure when exactly my request got answered, however I know that we were talking at 4:32 a.m. because of this picture. Assuming that Dan started streaming when the clock was 3 a.m. in Norway, then that means that Dan informed Rainy about the spill when the clock was 4:04 a.m. in Norway. We know that me and Tim were talking at 4:32 a.m., which is after Dan informed Rainy about a spill. Huh, suspicious. Almost like I was talking to Rainy helping Dan, to make it seem like Dan wasn't Tim, because Tim was talking to me, while Dan was streaming. This actually did the opposite of what Dan wanted. This only proved furthermore that Dan is Tim. At 43 to 17 in the GT Live video named, The Secret Lore of Trombone Champ, uploaded on the 29th of November 2022, Dan chose to voice exactly the demon character in Trombone Champ. Again, Tim has demon horns on his Roblox avatar. I saw on December 17, 2022, that Dan tweeted that his roleplay skills were 9/10. Tim used to roleplay, like I told you at the start of this script. That is the end of the paragraphs that proves that Dan is Tim. After I found out who Dan was on the 10th of December, I looked at Don's followers the same day, and wouldn't you guess it, I found someone named Destiny. Sounds familiar. Well, I came to the conclusion that this Destiny person must be one of Don's friends, and that Destiny lends him their account, or has completely given him the account, which could explain why the Destiny account on Roblox has the join date so early, and is not one of Tim's stalking accounts, that its only purpose is to stalk me, and not to play other games with his friends. 15th December I hear about a book called Friendly Face, which is FNAF book. I get a little suspicious that this book has something to do with me, because it has a cat on the front cover. Before you call me crazy, just listen to the summary of Friendly Face, when I wrote that summary down. The 16th of December, Security Breach was released. I was watching Fusion Z Gamer's gameplay on Security Breach. 17th December I suddenly see an arcade with a cat on it. I found it a little bit suspicious, however I didn't think much of it. The same day I see Fusion approach the Princess Quest 2 arcade, and I suddenly notice that on number 10, on rankings, it says Re. Re is just one letter away from HRY. HRY was a shortened version of the name Henry in FNAF 6. I later realized that book number 10 is coincidentally the friendly face book, just like on the arcade. Book cover by Jeff Stake. I was even more suspicious on the friendly face book, and I also started getting suspicious on Steel Wool Studios and Scott Cawthon. 2 days later on December 18th, I see Fusion enter the post-it room. I look at some of the post-its, and I come across this one. Can you see the 3 letters on that note? It says Tin. You can probably guess that I was very shocked. It also looks like there is a drawing of Circus Baby on that note. Circus Baby, or more specifically, Elizabeth, who is haunting Circus Baby, has green eyes. Dan has also green eyes. I had no idea what this peculiar note was doing in Security Breach. Now I was more suspicious on Steel Wool Studios and Scott Cawthon. The 19th of December at 21:51, the same person in previous videos has been edited with the Simply Safe sponsor in the video named, Can You Make Cookies Out of Your Christmas Tree? It's weird how Matthew chose to be sponsored by exactly Simply Safe. Simply Safe is a company that sells security system for your home, which includes security cameras, if you didn't know that. I believe that he wanted me to install cameras around the house, just for them to hack those cameras, and watch me. Obviously I didn't fall for it. The 20th of December, after watching the Can You Make Cookies Out of Your Christmas Tree video, I realized that Dan is putting this person as some sort of representation of me. I also must have found out at some point that the person that is a representation of me is named at Cruz. The 22nd of December, I got a better look at the arcades in Security Breach through Fusion's gameplay. I was barely suspicious on the arcade that had a cat on it, however when I saw this other arcade, I knew that something was going on. The arcade had what looked like a family on it. If you look at the person to the left, you will probably see that the person already looks like someone familiar. Credit to Zaris Amos. It looks like Old Man Consequences, who is pretty obviously Henry. However, what is interesting here is the fact that he is a cat. Remember how I used to roleplay as Henry, and I had the word cat in my username. This couldn't have been a coincidence. Furthermore, the wife is a dog. I have a dog that I sometimes call my daughter. It would make sense if the other parent is a dog. Although, it looks like my daughter is a cat instead of a dog in the FNAF universe. The arcade was named Cat Club, and the club part could be a replacement for family, since a club and a family have similar meanings. I also got a closer-up look of the first arcade that I saw. I actually just noticed now on April 28, 2024, that the 2 paw prints on the arcade looks like a sun and a moon. The 3 dots are the sunlight for the sun, and the big shape of the paw print is half a moon, and a part of the sun at the same time. The face of the cat is also a sun and a moon. The face is half a moon, and a part of a sun, and the 3 whiskers is sunlight from the sun. This must have some sort of connection to Sundrop and Moondrop, which are both FNAF characters in one body. I also found another arcade with the name Purgatory, and a cat skull on it. December 30th, 2021, I take pictures from Rubhan925's gameplay of Princess Quest 2. I don't know why I didn't just take pictures of Fusion's gameplay. Continuing, I had realized that the king in Princess Quest 2 looks a lot like Old Man Consequences, again.